Joining me right now, the author of Liberty and Tyranny, a conservative manifesto, KTRH talk show host every night beginning at 7 o'clock. He's the great one, Mark Levin. Mark, welcome to Houston's Morning News, sir.
Matt, how are you, brother?
I'm doing well, sir. Hey, listen, it is a pleasure to have you on. You've been busy. You've been breaking scandals. The gal that called you from Solyndra,
Yep.
Did you have any idea how she was going to break this thing wide open when she called your phone screener?
Well, she called the false phone screener, and the first thing she said is, look, I can't really identify myself. So we made her identify herself to my call screener.
Right.
And then we asked her a ton of questions. This happens to us now and then. And I was absolutely convinced that she had worked with this company, and but she wouldn't give us her number, which is they're nervous. And no, I had no idea what she was going to say. And then when she was done, actually off the air, we got other calls. So bottom line is, she said from day one, everybody knew this Solyndra was going to fail, that the Chinese were already producing these products and doing it, at slave wages and so forth.
Right.
And that there was no way this was going to work, that everybody up and down the chain knew it, and the politicians in Washington knew it. She was right.
And so, Mark, I'm going to ask you to hang on just real quick, as I want to come back. The administration obviously knew about this. They fast-tracked these loans in order to make it look good as the administration is announcing these green jobs. I also want to get your thoughts on what we're going to hear from the president on how he's going to reduce our deficit, I suppose by just taxing all the rich people. Mark Levin joining us here this morning. Mark, hang on one second.
Now, back to Matt Patrick and your morning news.
We are joined this morning by best-selling author, KTRH talk show host every night beginning at 7 o'clock, and a man we call the Great One, Mark Levin. Mark, thanks for taking the time this morning.
My pleasure.
All right, sir. So the president comes out. He says we're going to get out of this deficit simply by taxing millionaires. Mark, you know as well as I do. You know as well as I do that there's a lot of people that are going to hear this are going to say, that doesn't sound like a bad idea.
The problem is he says it so often. I mean, this mantra is so pathetic. And I would just ask people to think, how many jobs will this create? Like zero?
Yeah.
And how about he pay attention to the money he already does have, the trillions of dollars he's spent and flushed down the toilet with all these crony capitalist ventures and so forth. The issue isn't taxing the rich. Taxing the rich is going to create a job. Besides, Matt, 8, 9, 10 months ago, didn't he agree to these tax rates?
Well,
Remember all that?
But he changes his mind whenever the wind blows. Here's a thought that I have, and you tell me what you think. Why don't we begin to tax those that aren't paying any taxes? I mean, why are we looking at the millionaires to tax? There are so many people that aren't paying anything in income tax. Why don't we take a look at them?
Because there's 280,000 millionaires. I know your question's rhetorical. I'm just making the point. There's 280,000 millionaires, and there's tens of millions of parasites.
Right.
Keep in mind that the leftists, and frankly the Democrat Party, which is now controlled by the leftists, they've created this massive welfare state. They're not going to take it apart. So their idea is to keep appealing to it, keep growing it. But, I just tell everybody, if you think about it, if we took all the money from the millionaires in this country, not only wouldn't it create a job, it would destroy jobs. We've already tried his left-wing experiments. They're a disaster. They're destructive to the middle class and working people in this country. And but you have to keep in mind, Matt, he's tried the race baiting. You heard Maxine Waters and others.
Right.
He's now back to his class warfare. He's got the union bosses on the run, out there attacking on his behalf. So he's doing everything he can, plus using the government. The Solyndra with his millionaire and billionaire buddies, including a GE, including, they're naming this the Buffett rule after a man who hasn't paid his taxes.
Why did you just
since 2002?
Send a check if you want to.
Or his company hasn't. And what about the Obamacare waivers? Nobody knows who gets waivers and why they get waivers. The EPA is putting out tens of millions of dollars in grants to left-wing groups. He's got the civil service system where they're systematically appointing left-wing political appointees at the Justice Department and other places. What we need, Matt, and I'm no big fan of special prosecutors, is a special prosecutor to investigate the phony green jobs,
right,
these phony solar companies, because under the name of all this, they're taking us for a ride.
Mark, I got to run. I thank you again for everything that you do, and every night at 7 o'clock you can hear him here on KTRH. Take care of yourself, my friend.
Great pleasure. God bless, man.